Today we are talking about eczema. It happens to adults, it happens to kids, it can even crop up in little itty bitty spots as you get older for no good reason, but it responds to steroids. So let's talk more about what we can do about it, and especially in little kids when it's all over everywhere, how you can make them feel better and look better and just not cry as much because their skin isn't driving them crazy. So, I'm Dr. Rachel Langley. I work here at Pine Ridge Family Medicine, a direct primary care practice in Colorado Springs. It is a beautiful day today, so we'll sit inside and talk about eczema. So I've got my little chart of how eczema usually goes. You've got your maintenance phase and what you have to do for that, and then no matter what you do, sometimes you get flares and what we can do about those flares. So first of all, with taking care of eczematous skin, you want to limit how much your skin gets to dry, because basically what eczematous skin is skin that can't retain its own moisture. We don't really know why, but it loses moisture and then it gets dry and flaky, and then it can let infections get into the skin. It destroys the barrier that the skin is supposed to be for your body for keeping bad things out and good things in. What a pain. So even though showering is a good and healthy thing, you want to limit how much you shower, because that process of getting your skin wet and scrubbing at it or putting soap on it and then drying it, that really, really dries out your skin. So make sure that you're using a super mild soap. Something that has the word sensitive in it is usually a good way to go. Cetaphil is also a classic. That's spelled Cetaphil. That's a brand that's been around forever, and it tends to be really gentle and hypoallergenic. For the head, especially if you tend to get a pretty irritated scalp, a baby shampoo is perfect. And again, only bathing the bare minimum for kids 3 to 4 times a week is plenty. They're not sweating as much as adults are. They don't have the oil that adults do. So allow your baby to go many days without taking a bath, and that's going to be better for their skin. And you really want to bathe them for 5 minutes maximum at a time. I know sometimes they love playing in that water, but we got to keep their skin healthy. You want to use cooler water rather than hotter water. Hot water is very drying on the skin. And actually, if they are old enough, a shower is better than a bath. It doesn't soak their skin in quite the same way and cause the dryness as much. Stay away from the washcloths, the loofahs, the bubble bath. Those are just going to irritate the skin even more. And after you get them out of the bath, or yourself out of the bath, make sure you're patting your skin dry, real gentle, rather than rubbing it dry. I know it kind of takes more effort, but it's just less trauma to the skin. And then it's a 2-minute rule between getting out of the tub and getting some moisturizer on there. You want to get that on as soon as possible, even while the skin is still just a little bit damp. That's perfect. The rule with moisture is that lotion that you kind of squirt out of a container, that can even make eczema worse. That's not a good moisturizer to choose. You want to choose a cream or an ointment. Something that you have to dip out of a jar is the best kind of moisturizer. In fact, petroleum jelly, I know it's pretty greasy, but that's really a wonderful moisturizer. It's been around forever and it works really well. And especially if you can only do it at night, like a petroleum jelly greasy kind of moisturizer, do it just at night. I mean, that's better than nothing. You can even lock in those benefits all the more by putting on long sleeves pajamas on yourself, footy pajamas on your babies, just to make sure that moisturizer is being trapped against their skin, not just rubbing off on the sheets quite as much. And then during the day, if you want to use a cream that's less greasy, that's just fine. Just make sure it's something that you have to dip out. The thicker, the better for moisturizing. And especially for little babies that tend to be broken out all over the place, you want to do this moisturize thing 2 to 6 times per day. I know that seems like a lot, but there's a lot of health benefits from keeping their eczema under control. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Because no matter how good of a job you do, you're going to have times when you go into a flare, when the skin is red and flaky and irritated and painful. And that's when you got to bust out those topical steroids. So topical steroids, that just means a steroid that you apply to the skin. Here in medicine, we also have steroids that you take as pills, steroids that you inject, illegal steroids that you shouldn't use in sports, but these are ones that you spread on the skin. There are possible side effects to using topical steroids, so it's a careful balance between using them just enough to control your eczema, but not too much that you get those side effects. So what are the side effects of steroids? They tend to lighten the color of your skin and also thin the thickness of your skin, make it thinner. You know how kind of the skin underneath your eyes is just thin skin compared to the skin on your hand. So that's the thinness of the skin. But that tends to happen if you use the steroids twice a day for 2 weeks or more at a time. That's how much you have to use it to get to that point. So the goal is to find a steroid that is strong enough for your skin to respond in much less than 2 weeks, but not so strong that you don't need that it's causing side effects just a couple times. So to work with your doctor to find the right strength of steroid for you or your child, and try to avoid applying it to areas that already have thin skin. So under your eyes, on your eyelids, and your armpits and your groin, those tend to have pretty thin skin anyway. And they're kind of rare places for you to have eczema. So talk with your doctor if you're having any rashes around those areas that you think might benefit from steroids. So you want to apply these steroids twice a day when you're having a flare. You can stop as soon as the flare stops. And you want to apply this twice a day. If you're doing a bath and then applying the steroids, again, that 2-minute rule applies. And then you want to wait for an hour before you moisturize, because that moisturizing ointment or cream is going to thin out the potency of this steroid. It's not going to be quite as strong. So let the steroid work for about an hour, do its thing, and then don't forget to moisturize, because that moisturizing is still important, especially when you're in a flare. Another thing that can benefit and help prevent flares are bleach baths, when you add bleach to a bath to kill off the bacteria that's just living on your skin that might get into your skin through those eczematous flared areas and cause infections and just make things worse. So what you do for that is you fill your tub up as much as is safe for you, for your child. For you, I'm trusting it's pretty safe. And then you add between a 1/4 cup to a 1/3 cup of chlorine bleach, the same stuff you would use in your laundry. Go for the real chlorine stuff because that's what's really going to kill the bacteria, to the bath. And then you soak for 5 to 10 minutes in that bath. It will smell pretty chlorine-y, kind of like a pool. And you want to do that 1 to 2 times a week to try to get the benefits of killing the bacteria, to avoid it from being able to get in through those open areas in your skin from an eczema flare. Other things from day to day that you can do to make eczema better, since it is a bit of an allergic process, you want to decrease the number of allergens around you. So if you have a pet, keep them at least out of the bedroom at night for you or your child, so that you can have some time when you're breathing in air without those allergens. Get rid of stuffed animals as much as possible too, because those tend to have some allergens in them. And think of what other things might irritate your skin. So wool, for example, although wool sweaters are super cute and super warm, they do tend to be irritating on that skin. So avoid putting wool directly on skin that gets eczema. And humidifiers, especially at night and throughout the house, can be very helpful, especially in this really dry climate that we live in. And the benefits of all this work is that your eczema not only gets better and avoids flares, but also there's thought that it might decrease your chances of having asthma or worse asthma in the future, or environmental allergies or worsened environmental allergies in the future. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. It is likely that your eczema is going to continue to get better and better. But in the meantime, you can do this. Keep fighting the good fight. Keep applying that moisturizer, and I'll catch you later. Thank you for watching.